Sup my dudes, Valk here, and today I'm going to be doing a release tier list of My Hero Ultra Rumble, which is a new battle royale that has been released on Steam, PlayStation, all consoles. It doesn't have crossplay, so make sure you pick the platform of choice that you're going to be playing the most of. So, I want to go ahead and talk about it, because this is what I think the meta is going down to, and I think I have a pretty good tier list going, and a pretty good comprehension of the meta. I'm almost at pro rank for mostly playing Tenya Ida. I like Tenya a lot, but he's obviously not one of the best characters in the game. So today I'm going to be telling you the best characters in the game and why it matters. So, the way the ranking system works, the way ELO works, is it's based off damage dealt and KOs essentially. That's really what it boils down to. That's the big ones. Supporting your team whatsoever does not count for your ELO. You will not go up in ELO doing a bunch of revives. You have to get kills. You have to do damage. You have to play aggressively. That is very obviously how they wanted to do this game, and this game is very unbalanced. Not all quirks are the same. Some characters are just straight up better. And today I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to tell you why the placements in this tier list are what they are. So let's go ahead, let's get into it. First off is Bakugo. Bakugo and Deku, they're pretty much the same thing. I think Bakugo is slightly better because he has a higher damage potential. But Deku, I was going to say Bakugo. But Deku is very, very, very good. So, let's go ahead and talk about the two best characters in the game, which I think Bakugo is arguably the best one. So, basically, what these two characters do is they have very good mobility. They can go anywhere on the map, which means that they dictate the space at which they play. They can either use mobility to create space or use mobility to close space, meaning that they can chase kills or create space to go into their primary function, which is sniping. All top three characters are very strong snipers. They have abilities. Their alpha abilities hit very, very hard. Deku's alpha ability hits for 110, and it is a giant radius. Basically the size of a whole person. He's throwing it at you, and it's going to do half your health every single time he hits. It regenerates really quickly, and all these characters function very similarly to that. Todoroki's, his is pretty much infinite range, so he could be sniping you across the map. I've actually had that happen, where I'm in Typhoon coming out the door, and the Todoroki on top of Fire Zone is actually trying to snipe me, because he hits me once. I'm like, where the hell did I just get hit from? So, that's why these two characters are up here. They have insane mobility, they have insane damage, they just run everything. You're going to rank up very quickly and very easily using these two characters, well, these three characters, but there's a reason Todoroki is basically that, like, S.5, like it's slightly below S. I think you could put Deku and Bakugo at S plus and then Todoroki at S essentially, right, by himself. Because Todoroki's still a cut above the rest of the class. The only difference Todoroki has between Bakugo and Deku in terms of just the reason I put them the way they are is because Todoroki does not have vertical movement. He has only horizontal movement. He still has to do regular climbing, whereas Bakugo and Deku do not. They can fly, they can grab onto things. Deku has his kick he can use for mobility. He has his whip that he can use for mobility to kind of slingshot him places and use the kick to go even further. Basically, the horizontal only movement of Todoroki really limits as to where he can go and what he can contest. So you have to kind of be set up before the fight begins, whereas the other two, you can do whatever you want. That being said, Todoroki's still better than literally every other character in the game because he does insane damage on every single one of his abilities, as well as has a lot of hard CC and the ability to freeze. So he can set up kills and confirm kills very easily. Now, let's go into A for All Might, with All Might at the very top of A tier in my opinion. So a lot of people have All Might wrong. They think he's kind of like... he plays like these guys, but no, All Might is an all-in character. He's a character where you don't use that jump to escape, you use that jump to engage. You use All Might to jump on a team of 3, and then you just start pressing the hell out of them. He is by far my favorite character to play because I love the hyper-aggressive playstyle. I love playing like an absolute psycho, and he really enables that. He has lots of ways to deflect projectiles. He has a shotgun for an alpha, basically, because that's kind of how it functions. It's a very wide radius for his punches. For his alpha, so it's very hard to miss, but it's mostly like a shotgun, like a little rapid fire Tommy gun that you just want to kind of spray your enemies down with. And then he also has a charge ability on his beta. The charge is really good because you basically charge in, you can gap close instantly on a lot of people. They don't really have the reaction time to react to it, and then you knock them way up in the air, which then you can follow up with your alpha and do a ton of damage. If you're max level, you can probably even knock them before they hit the ground, which is really good. And then you have your gamma, which is the twister, which is going to allow you to basically deflect all projectiles if you need to get out, or if you need a breather, you need to block for a teammate, whatever. He is by far, in my opinion, the best engage on the entire game, because he can engage an entire squad. He can make them focus him, or he will kill them while your team is going ahead and shooting at them or doing whatever, basically assisting you in killing the enemy teams. But he is an absolute beast and a powerhouse. The way you deal with All Might really is you want to try to just avoid him and pick off the rest of his team, then come after him. That's kind of the best way to go about it. But he also has an instant revive as well as all this other stuff. Like, he has one of the quick carries like Deku has. Deku has a quick carry, so you can instantly revive your teammates. It's something that comes up every now and then, but not too often. Next, we get into Asui. This is going to shock a lot of people that Asui's this high. Asui has an instant revive that she can tongue and lick and reposition a teammate to better positioning whenever they are downed and instantly revive them. Really good. She's just really, really hard to hit. She has ways to stay mobile, to stay active, stay in the air, and you're basically playing Super Mario, jumping on people's heads with Asui while they're trying to find you. The amount of times we have been a team of 3 last alive in a final circle with just one Asui that randomly lived, who we cannot kill because we have to wait for her to burn her cooldowns. The amount of times that happens, it's actually a lot more common than you'd think. She's very hard to kill. She's very mobile, very agile. She doesn't do a lot of damage, but she's really good at keeping the team alive and just harassing the hell out of people. Next up is Himiko Toga. Himiko I have one behind Asui because Himiko is just, she's really conditional as far as the transformation goes. You can transform into any of these high tier characters. You can transform into any of them, but more importantly, her beta skill. Her alpha is like a machine gun, but it doesn't do a lot of damage, but you can just spray it down on people and do a ton of damage that way. But her beta skill is insane. What she does basically with her beta, she just runs at them, slashing a blade really, really fast back and forth, and it makes it so you can run down at pretty much entire teams, multi-hit them, or you can knock someone on the ground. Once someone's down, you can just hit this button and run at them and then juggle them in the air while they're getting hit and eventually finish them, and it's just really, really good there. Now, Dinky is the last in A tier, and people are going to be kind of confused by this because Dinky higher than Shiggy looks a little weird, but Dinky's amount of CC that he can provide is really good for creating picks for the rest of the team. It's not so much for his damage, it's mostly for the amount of stuns he has, because he's able to create so many opportunities to create picks for basically the rest of the roster, which is really, really important in this game because you want to get your pick, you want to get your down, and you want to finish them before the team has a chance to try to help their ally, and he's really good at creating those scenarios. Next up, at the top of B tier is Shiggy. Now, this is the one I expect a lot of people to kind of contest me on, is Shiggy, because Shiggy has the highest damage in the game, in my opinion, and I don't think it's close. I think Shiggy absolutely, if he gets on you, you're pretty much dead. If he gets close to you, you're kind of just screwed because of the amount of damage he can dish out. But he has no mobility tools. His only mobility tool is a grab, which most of them use to go in. I haven't seen really any using to go out. And outside of that, he's mostly reliant on you being on the ground to fight him, which a lot of these characters have ways to get off the ground and fight him and be able to take winning fights essentially, or create space to get away from him, because once you're at a good distance from him, he's not really going to be a big threat. You just have to kind of watch out for his little ground ruptures, and that's basically it with Shiggy, is that he's insane damage if he gets on you. If he gets on you, you're pretty much dead. But he, at the same time, lacks the mobility tools the other characters have to be able to stay on top of enemies and finish them. He mostly just relies on raw strength, raw power, and raw damage to kind of just blow enemies up and just murder people that way. That's kind of where he's at, in my opinion. Next up is Momo. Momo is really good. Momo has a lot of abilities to engage. She has the shield that she can run in, that she becomes immune to damage during the time frame. While the shield is up in her front, she has the shield that she can run in with. She has the cannons that she can position. She can drop 3 cannons at max level to recreate the Civil War and hold down entire sections by just letting the cannons lob and just go boom, 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 one after another. It's really sick. Momo's really, really good. She also has a pretty good alpha, and just if somebody tries to close a space on her, she can use that alpha to contest them. But most part, the scariest thing about Momo is the cannons because they hit so damn hard. Next up is my personal main, Tenya Ida. Now, this one might be controversial to some people because they might think Tenya Ida is not that good. Which, fair. That's fair to you. But Tenya can actually 2-tap most heroes in the game. What I mean by that is once Tenya really needs to jump in and guard break an enemy. Once an enemy is guard broken, Tenya can then full combo them in the air. And depending on what he has active, if he has reciprocal burst active, he can do maybe 4-hit combos if the Tenya is skilled enough. But for the most part, he's going to be doing 3-hit combos. And if you're at max level, those 3-hit combos can kill most of the cast inside the game. So he's basically just trying to look for guard break opportunities. And once an enemy's guard break, they're kind of screwed versus Tenya because he's really, really fast. He's very hard to hit. And once he's on you, you're getting clapped. That's kind of how he works. Him, Asui, and All Might are very good counters for the top 3 characters in the game. It's one of the reasons I have Tenya so high. The only bad side to Tenya is reciprocal burst. You barely ever actually use it because the downside to using it is so heavy. It's kind of needs to get some rework or retouches because I get why reciprocal burst is like that. His gamma, I get why it's like that because it's a very strong ability, but you only really use it whenever you're either in plus ultra or you're chasing an enemy down. There's no other really reason to use it because you are in a very bad spot once that thing runs out. So these 3 characters are pretty solid counters to the top. If you guys are curious, I would recommend playing those 3 if you have them. But those are good characters to counter and to try to counter the top tiers. So next up, Vine Lady. I'm gonna be real, I don't remember her name. I'm sorry. People get upset that I don't know her name. I don't. There's gonna be some characters in My Hero that I just straight up don't know. So, Poison Ivy, let's call her that. She's really good at maintaining space. She has an insta-res. She has good CC. The only issue is once that space gets closed, once they get through her zoning capabilities with her very, very big alphas that she can dish out, once they get through her zoning capabilities, they can kind of just run her down. So I did put her a little bit lower because once again, these characters, she has no mobility, so these characters can really dictate the pace on her. It's kind of rough whenever you play her because if you get ran down, it's just nothing you can really do about it. It feels pretty hopeless. So at the end, we have Dabi. Now, this one might shock some people too because I see a lot of Dabis played, and there's a couple reasons why. So his alpha, the auto-tracking alpha, you can literally just dodge it by running sideways. It only really hits you if you let it hit you. I'm gonna be real. Outside of his alpha, which I don't think is very good personally, after playing against him a bunch, playing with him a bunch, I don't think the alpha is very good. His beta, what it does is it puts down a trap. His beta is good for kind of setting up areas or trying to bait enemies into engages, which is really what he's all about. He wants to set up areas to fight and bait enemies into engages. And his gamma is another one. It puts up a ring of fire. As far as his special ability, which his special ability, whenever he's down, it allows him to just put up a big burn around him to knock people crazy and do a ton of damage. It hits very hard. That special ability doesn't get used a lot because there's a lot of people who, once you know about it, they just don't get near you and they'll just hit you with snipes really far away to finish you off while you're downed. So it's not something you really get an opportunity to do. So next up, Ochako. Ochako in C. Now, Ochako actually has really good damage. She has good tools. She has good mobility. She has good everything. So why is she C tier? It's because to really deliver her damage, she's not only is the squishiest character in the game, but she has to full commit by sending her whole body in. So whenever there's a meta where these characters can dictate the space, control the space, and just get the fuck away, Ochako kind of gets boned if she gets hit twice. If she gets hit 2 or 3 times by a max level Deku with just the finger blast, she's dead. She's just straight up dead. That's all there is to it. And because she's so squishy and she has to full send on any of her damage, it ends up in kind of rough positions. She can end up getting just absolutely blasted if you mess up, but I mean, that's most of the characters in the game. But most of the characters in the game also don't have to full send their whole body in at people. So next up, we have my boy Cementos. I love playing Cementos. I love playing Fortnite. It's so fun. I have probably some of the most time played on Cementos out of everybody. Cementos is one of my favorite characters in this game. He's super fun to play, but he's not very good. So what Cementos really excels at is whenever you're inside like the Typhoon Zone and the Fire Zone, he can set up opportunities to create plays and split enemies off from their team, so your team can actually get the kills. Or he's good at his special ability allows him to instantly revive your allies, and he's good at basically just getting out. Now here comes the issue with Cementos that you will notice the more you play against really good players, is these characters are too mobile and they will run you down. There is no escape, you have no defense, they do too much damage, and you have no way to actually retaliate to them. They are going to come to you and they are going to blast you. It is that simple. Now Mount Lady, she has a really good kit. She really does. She has a very solid kit. Gamma, once again, is just, it's very similar to All Might's. It's just a bunch of punches that she can just rapid fire out. Her beta, I believe, is the triple slam. And then her gamma is like a drop kick that sends her forward a little bit. But her main gimmick is gigantification. So here comes the issue. During gigantification, she gets some damage reduction, and she hits really, really hard and increases the size of all of her AoEs. But the main three characters of the meta right now are snipers. There are people who want to be far away sniping at you. You make yourself like 200 feet tall whenever you go gigantification. Do you see an issue? Because what happens is when you go big, if it's not like you versus the last team, you get lit up by every sniper in the map. And you just die instantly. So next up, actually I probably want to put her above Red Riot. So next up we have Kendo, I believe her name is. Once again, I don't know all the characters of My Hero, so forgive me. But essentially what she's good at doing is she is basically kind of like a bruiser, but she has like a Reinhardt shield, right? So the Reinhardt shield's really good at absorbing a lot of damage whenever you have it with some levels, and she can genuinely deal some pretty good damage if she can get on to the enemies, as well as she can pick up her allies with her hand, she can fling them, she can do all sorts of stuff. She has a lot of multi-utility, but the thing is once again, is she doesn't really have any movement abilities, while also being a very defensive character. So against the current top 3 meta, she just gets absolutely goomba'd because they're just going to lay into her, maintain distance, and just pew 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 constantly. And the same is very similar to Red Riot. So Red Riot, on his special ability, he gains armor, well, he takes reduced damage, and he gains CC immunity basically. So he becomes immune to CC. All of his abilities kind of do the same thing, except for his gamma. I believe his gamma is a slam. But his alpha and his beta are kind of charging in to try to stay on top of the enemy and try to dish out as much damage as possible. The issue, once again, is these characters do too much damage and are too mobile. And they are going to smash you as you're trying to get in because you have no ranged way of doing damage. Which she does, which is why I put Kendo higher. Actually, you know what? I'll put Kendo here. I'll move Kendo up to C tier. She does have range damage. I forgot. She has the little shotgun slap thing that can do pretty good. But Red Riot really has no gap closing abilities. I mean, not gap closing. He has all gap closing abilities, but he has no way to actually create, kill the space enough to be able to get on somebody and stay on somebody. He doesn't have the damage to actually make it matter. Because whenever you do get on somebody, whenever you do start beating them up and mauling them with the Red Riot, they're going to get up and start blasting you with way more damage than you're actually outputting. So that's something to consider whenever you're playing him. I don't think he's very good. I like Red Riot a lot again. He's one of the characters I play a bunch. I do like him a ton. He just gets absolutely Goomba stomped in the current meta, in my opinion. And then last we have Mr. Compress. Mr. Compress is absolutely last because this character has one damaging ability. The rest is a reflect, which is pretty good in this current meta. But then his other is a get out of jail free card where he tries to just teleport away, but you can actually track it. His special ability, you have to take a living ally, not a downed one. You can't grab downed allies. But a living ally, you turn them into a ball, and then you just heal them while they're in your pocket, and you can take them and run away with them. So he's at the very last, simply because he just doesn't do enough. He doesn't do a lot. I'm not saying you can't win with any of these characters that are bottom tier. You can absolutely win with anyone. I'm just saying he struggles absolutely the most to win in the current meta versus these characters which have it very easy. Now keep in mind he has one single damage ability, in a meta or in a game where the only way to rank up is by doing damage and getting kills. So to say he is the absolute last is an understatement. He's like, if I was to actually rate him, I would add like maybe 2 more tiers and then he'd be here. Just 2 empty tiers and then he'd be at the very bottom, because it's going to be a very rough time actually trying to gain rank with Compress. He's just not very good. Anyways, that's basically the video. If you agree with my tier list, disagree, let me know. If there's anything I missed about these characters, if you'd like me to reevaluate where they stand, let me know. I'll make adjustments and edits as things go on. Aizawa comes out in I don't know how long. It could be, I think they're doing like 1 character a month. So Aizawa should come out at the end of October, which will be pretty cool. But yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. As always, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.